It's Sophie for Culture Compass. Today I'm here with Rou and Rob of Enter Shikari. How are you?
Very well.
Very good, thank you.
Good.
How are you?
Yeah, not bad, thank you for asking. That's nice, I don't always get that.
No, well, you know, politeness doesn't cost anything.
Exactly. Now, how was your Christmas? Because I imagine with the January 19th release, you're kind of still thinking about work even though you're on a break.
Yeah, I suppose physically we had some time off, but there was certainly a hell of a lot of work still to be done, a lot of sort of interview stuff. Our fingers are aching from the amount of emails thrown around for the album release. So it's still very hot on our minds.
Yeah. What about your friends and family? Are they like, can you just put the laptop down for a bit and just concentrate on Christmas jolliness?
I think that's the same with any family, isn't it? Get off your phones, like come and be all Christmassy and family orientated. Yeah, it's tough.
I saw you adopt a onesie though, so you're trying to get in the spirit. That was good.
I wasn't trying to get in the spirit. I thought I made it clear that I hated onesies to my mum, and she still bought me one. But now I've come round and I've been wearing it like all the time I've been at home. So
they're good, aren't they?
Everyone
Admit
comes
defeat.
Around in the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now this album, it's your fourth album. When you get to this point, do you think we're not going to worry what everyone thinks? We're going to do what we want now because you've earned that kind of thing.
It's kind of what we've been doing for all the albums, I think. Yeah, we've always kind of just written for ourselves. And it turned out that other people like it too. So it's always been kind of lucky for us. But I think, you know, we've never been kind of pandering to other people's wants, you know, whether it be sort of music fans that think we should be more like our old stuff, or whether it's sort of label people saying that we should have more Radio 1 hit singles, or, you know, things like that. We've kind of just done it for what we want, and it's always worked out for the best.
Now, I saw that on a quote that you said you want to be more fearless with this album. I've always thought of you guys as quite fearless. So what weren't you doing before that you are doing now? Like, where have you gone?
Well, there was a lot of different influences on this album that perhaps haven't been there before. From obscure electronica to classical and neoclassical music, and you can sort of notice it in various ways, from sort of little rhythms here and there to the instrumentation, and I think as well with the melodies, like we wanted to not just use a much wider scope of instrumentation, but also like push our vocal range, like make sure there's a lot more falsetto on there. Just kind of go that one step further, I suppose. Keep pushing ourselves, and we don't want to get sort of comfortable or complacent with where we are, you know. So it's important. And
how's your voice coped with the pushing of it? Have you had like bad throat or any damage done to it, or have you coped quite well with it?
No, I've been lucky this year. I'm always fine until I get a cough, and then I find it really hard to shake off, and I get it for like 3 months. And I haven't had it all winter, and literally yesterday I started coughing when I was lying in bed, and I was like, of course, we're going on tour tomorrow, you know. Yeah, so I'm bracing myself. But yeah, no, it's been a good year for vocals, actually.
And you've said you have more dulcet tones on this album. I love that word. Good word, isn't it? Yeah. And now, how do you get into that zone? Do you kind of get more chilled when you're doing those ones, and vice versa when you're doing the more aggressive ones? Do you have to get yourself fired up? Do you have an argument with someone before or anything like that?
Well, sometimes he gets me to come over and give him a good slap.
That'll do it
before getting in.
Get the adrenaline going. Well, Dan, our producer's really good at that kind of stuff as well. He's like, if he thinks there's any sort of fatigue setting in, he's just like, jump up and down in the vocal booth, jump up and down, like, come on, run around, I want to hear you panting, like, before this next take. So he'll work you hard. So it's good to have that.
Throw insults down the microphone through the headphones out, you get you all upset. And
that was shit.
Yeah. Seriously though, do you ever do that? If he does a bad take, do you guys go, not good enough?
No, I mean we sort of all give pointers on each other's takes, and we can tell when someone can do it a bit better or a bit differently somehow. But I mean, it's usually the person that's in the studio at the time recording whatever they're doing that knows the best themselves whether they can do it better or not.
Yeah. Okay, and I guess by now you know what not to say to each other, what gets people, riled up and stuff.
Exactly. We know sort of where the bar is for each other's bar and how far to push it.
Now I want to talk about Dan Weller because you've worked with him before. So is it kind of like a safety blanket with him? It's just comfortable and nice, or is it just that it works well? So why change it?
Yeah, I think it works really. Yeah, it's true. He's kind of a bit of a father figure.
Or maybe, like you saying that.
Yeah, he would hate that.
Yeah, maybe not so much father figure, but sort of older brother. Yeah. I think because he's still one of us. He's still just one of the kids. But no, I think we are very comfortable with him. But also we know that he can sort of push us, and he lets us. He gives us a certain amount of freedom of experimentation, and he's always up for trying out new ideas, whether it be sort of, like Rou was saying, different instrumentation or different recording techniques or things like that. He's always just really excited to try new things, but then at the same time has a very kind of logistical mindset, in that he knows that by the end of this 4 weeks we need to have recorded an album, so we can't go too wild, and knows when to sort of draw it in, and we just found that he kind of brings out the best in us.
You said that he doesn't really have the normal job of a producer when he works with you compared to other bands, so what is it he actually does and that you do in terms of production? How do you share it out, the role?
I mean, that sort of sounds slightly demeaning of his role. Like, I think what I meant, if that was me that said it,
I think it was.
As in, like, the traditional role of a producer in the pop world is like extremely different from the rock world. So I mean, like, we write the songs and do the sort of quite extensive demoing and then bring it in, and it's just great to at that point get the fresh pair of ears on it, as opposed to a producer that will literally write the music with you and develop the songs with you. I think for us that would just be too many cooks.
Yeah, you want to have control over it. It's your baby, isn't it, at the end of the day? Yeah.
We're kind of control freaks as well at the end of the day.
I wasn't going to say. Talking about that, do you have all control over the aesthetics of the record? Because your vinyl looks incredible. Like, do you have to say, I want that, and other record companies saying, that's quite expensive, can you maybe not want...
Well, we've got such sort of vested interest in how much is spent on it in the first place that I think we take good notes from the people in the know-how of what's best to having an amazing product, but then at the same time not going too crazy and spending absolute arm and a leg on it.
We pushed the boat out with the like the bundle packs. I spent the deluxe one of that. We got it's like a massive hardback book with like pictures and lyrics, and then it's got an essay for each song as well, like sort of explaining it, as well as the vinyl, like picture disc and CDs, and we saw it for the first time. You didn't see it yet.
I haven't seen it in the flesh yet. No, I've seen pictures of it.
I was just like stroking it. It looks amazing. Really pushed the boat out on that one.
And it's the guy that's done work with the Prodigy, is that right? That helped you out with that?
Luke Insect. Yeah, he's brilliant. He basically just got between him and our manager Ian and just came up with the concept, and he
nailed it.
Brought it to life. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Now, talking about playing this album live, you said it's got a lot of different instrumentation on it. Logistically, how is that going to be for you when you play it live? Have you made life difficult for yourself in terms of getting string quartets and that sort of thing?
I think at some point we'd love to have a string quartet on stage with us, but obviously it's not viable for us to do it for all the tours. Maybe when we become a big stadium rock band,
which will happen,
Guns N' Roses or something, we'll have the huge orchestra behind us. But we work with a program called Ableton, which runs a backing track behind us. As much as we possibly can, we play live, but it gets to a point where we just physically can't do this stuff ourselves. So we have a backing track running with us to sort of beef up the sound and add in those small parts that are on the album that we can't do ourselves on stage.
Yeah. Okay, so you've sorted that out. You thought about that before you...
Yeah, when we were in the studio, all throughout especially this album, we were very much conscious of how we were going to reproduce it live. So from down to each guitar tone that's different in between each song to, you know, the rhythms that I'm playing, where maybe I need sort of 6 arms to be able to play this one particular beat that we recorded, you know, because you're sort of layering up things on the track, which you obviously can't do live, but so you got to think your way around it.
Now, the topics of some of your songs are quite heavy, some might say, but obviously you're putting out some messages that need to be said. But do you try and make sure it's balanced by putting funny lines in, like "you effing spanner"? Do you kind of make sure that it's got some lightness to it so people can still just enjoy it as like fun songs as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's always been pretty important for us. Still to keep that sense of irony and the sort of comic timing and things like that. It's always been important not to take it too seriously, because, you know, when you are addressing such wide subjects, it's very easy to just think of yourself, I don't know, as something that you probably wouldn't ever, you know, years ago thinking of yourself as. So it's it's important to keep that side of it, definitely.
Right, I've been looking at some of the comments on YouTube. It's scary, isn't it, whenever you do that?
The cesspit of YouTube comments.
Doom. Now, do you make a point of avoiding it, or do you have a little cheeky check now and again to see what the general mood is?
Sometimes we send each other the best ones that we find. Only last night, these guys were sending over some of the funniest YouTube comments that they could find.
Can you quote me some, or do we not want to show anyone up? Is there a really good one?
I sent over, like, I mean, our new single, Anaesthetist, it's all about the importance of free healthcare. And at some point, I guess the message got a bit twisted and convoluted, and someone just posted a YouTube comment. It's like, yeah, fuck the NHS.
Oh.
It's like, kind of missed the bait on that one, but just obviously had heard NHS somewhere and just like some anger towards something. It's like, yeah.
That's quite embarrassing. You did the Warped Tour last year. A lot of people think of that as, you know, the way to break American rock or kind of start, you know, infiltrating that market. Did you think of it like that, or was it more of the experience of just doing it and enjoying summer on the road?
We know. I don't think we ever wanted to do it for the experience.
Is it really as tough as it sounds?
Well, we almost gave up on America.
Really?
Like,
The thing is, it's just so fucking big. That's the problem with America. It's just so fucking big, and you can't do it without like at least 2 months solid touring. And even then, you don't get everywhere. And that's the thing with Warped Tour. It's a difficult tour because it's really hot. It's so many days in succession. I think the last time we did it, the worst was. I think 13, 14 days without a day off, kind of thing. I mean, that's not the worst. You know, you hear sort of horror stories of 20 days in succession without a day off, and in that heat and just every day, it is difficult and it's grueling. But then it's an opportunity unlike any other. You know, you get to tour around and play in front of thousands of fans that wouldn't have seen you otherwise, or, you know, open yourself up to new ears that wouldn't have heard you any other way. So it's a good opportunity. Obviously the record label that we work with in the US, Hopeless, want us out there as much as possible and to get as much. You know, for us to play exposure, I think that's the word. Get as much exposure as possible, and that's one of the best ways to do it. And it is a lot. We had a lot of fun doing it last time as well. You make a lot of really good friends, and there's a lot of kind of camaraderie in it. It feels like it's a shit boat, but we're all in it together, kind of thing. You know,
that's a nice way of looking at it, isn't it? Now, to finish off the interview, you've got a tour coming up January and February, and it's finishing at the Roundhouse, is that right? When you get those sorts of dates, do you look at each other and go, wow, this is pretty good, we're doing all right? Is it one of those surreal moments where you're like, wow, we can sell out the Roundhouse?
Well, I always get a little bit nervous when I first see the list of gigs and see the size of venues, and there's sort of, there was one night at the Roundhouse and then a second one, you know, held. I think, oh bloody hell! And then the tickets start selling, and we've already sold out so many of the venues, and it's just really exciting. Really, amazing to feel that we've got such a fantastic backing behind us in the UK. You know, really, really decent fan base, and so many of the fans are going to loads of the shows. I mean, I know quite a few people are actually going to pretty much like almost every single one of the shows in the UK tour.
Where do they find the money, these people?
I have no idea. Like, don't they have, you know, work or that they need to be at? But they're just taking a month off.
Well, we encourage it though. It's good,
no, absolutely. It's great. It's amazing dedication from our fans. It's brilliant.
Okay, so to finish off, the album's out 19th of January.
Yep.
Everyone go and buy it. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.